Obviously, on Tuesdays, we talk about books. And I'm sitting right here with Audrey Chirenje. Good morning, lovely lady.
Good morning, Maurice. I love the hair.
Thank you so much. A difference from last week, I had the afro, and then today I've got the slick straight.
You're rocking it, girl.
Thank you so much. Now, we are discussing a book written by Coach Tari, who is Tariro Mukunga. Who's written a book called Living by Design, okay, and this is insights into the purpose-driven life. So most of the times people don't really know their purpose. How do you get to find out what that is and, you know, how to go about that?
Okay, so in this book, I liked what Coach Terry did. He talks about himself, and then he also draws wisdom from other people and their stories. So, for example, he talks about how when he was at the UZ, he was doing engineering. But then, and he was quite an, extrovert and all that. But then the one time he found himself now, leading Youth and Scripture Union and actually standing up at the front and leading that, which was very unexpected for him. So there's a chapter where he talks about our personalities. I know people always go on and on about personalities, introverts, extroverts, and now I hear there's a word called ambivert, which is a mixture of an introvert and an extrovert. Yeah.
What ambivert? I wonder what are you? You look introverted.
I think I'm an ambivert. When I then found, because I used to call myself an introvert all the time. Yeah. Public, limelight, all that, I had to actually get out of my shell and do it. But then I've discovered that you can actually be both, so you can like doing it for a while, but after a while you just want to go back into your shell. Yeah,
I think along the way, like for me, the whole purpose thing, I used to be very introverted, very quiet, because I wasn't really sure about myself. I was very, kind of self-conscious and things like that. But getting into my purpose, I started opening up and actually realized that, look, I'm not a quiet, shy person. I have something to say. So this is when we're talking about being afraid of your purpose, which is something that is highlighted in this book. Please tell us more about that.
Yes, so I think what's interesting is I found that chapter interesting as well. And I know a lot of coaches and a lot of people don't talk about it enough. You can actually know your purpose, but be very afraid of it because it makes you go out in places that you'd never find yourself in, like you're saying, your natural personalities, you want to be behind the scene, but then now you have to talk. So you can actually be afraid of your purpose. But then what happens if we look at the Bible, like what we're saying, in the Bible, the Bible is full of characters which are not perfect. And that's one thing I love about the Bible. You find people like Jeremiah, Isaiah, a prophet was called to go and they'll be like, Lord, but I can't speak. I've got a stammer, Or someone will say, no, Lord, I've sinned. I can't go in front of people. But God uses those people. So purpose, it doesn't mind whatever about you.
I guess it's when you think about purpose and you think about what you have to do, it takes a lot. And that's discipline and that's pain. It's a painful journey and it's a long journey. And I do know people just like things, popcorn, done, quickly, let's get it done. But there's a deeper call and, just delving deeper into trying to discover who you are, I guess is also something that, you can be afraid of. And I'm just looking, he writes about this in chapter 7, talking about the calls for deeper levels, Going in the deep is not really that great, is it?
No. Even swimming, you start off at the shallow end. The minute you're thrown in the deep end, and then you gulp all that water.
Yeah, panic and, all of that stuff. So what was your the most important maybe chapter that you can maybe say is in this book?
Okay, so maybe let me talk about how he wrote the book in parts. So in part A, you've got desire to live by design. So I think, like you're saying, it has to be a conscious decision.
Right.
And then you have to do the necessary steps involved, the work involved. Like you're saying, it's not popcorn. It's going to take a period of time, but it's by design. And then discovering your purpose. So there's an analogy he puts right at the beginning of the book of how someone took someone to like when they do the gold panning. And they were saying that some people will come and just find the gold there and there. And then they'll go and they'll live happily ever after. Some people will then work for a bit and then find the gold. And then the same process. But some people will search and not find it.
Never find it.
And never find it. But does it mean that the gold is not there?
It's there.
It's there. But then it's all about your purpose and your processes. And then there's part C, developing yourself for a purpose. And then the last part, deploying yourself for purpose. So this is what you're saying, that you have to actually take yourself out there, put yourself out there in the public limelight, in line with your purpose.
That's incredible. So some of the lessons and themes that are highlighted in this book, what are they?
So lessons and themes are like, you've got free yourself from fear, that manifests in different forms. And then identify and overcome contradictions that stand in the way.
I guess fear is, we were talking off air, and you were telling me that you're afraid of this, and I mean, I also told you about my fears as well. And you're thinking, it's normal to be afraid, but you have to fight through that.
You have to fight, and I think I like this word that I saw, that just do it scared.
Right.
And more often than not, like that big speech, public speaking, people see you speaking, they think, it's very easy for you. No, it's not necessarily easy. So yes, you've got that feeling before you do it. And the first 30 seconds, maybe to a minute, you actually be scared.
Yeah.
But thereafter, you then do it. And that's where some people will then say, God can actually then take over
help you.
And
I
help
guess
you.
that maybe that is also an indication, speaking of purpose, sometimes when you think, hey, I actually finished doing that and it was easy, and you're kind of getting into the person that you are, which is what he highlights as well.
Yes, and he even speaks about how when you start, it's actually sort of a struggle.
Right.
Even if you look at all these great people, that we see. Even like David, the one in the Bible, he started off this poor little shepherd boy along the way. Then he fought Goliath. And then with every win that you get, that's why they say you need to celebrate small wins. You become more and more encouraged in your purpose. It doesn't become easier, but then it gets comfortable, and then you keep on doing it.
Yeah, and just before we kind of found out about where to find Tariro, the design of the cover of the book, it's hands on a clay pot. That's like a potter's clay that's being molded. So I guess this speaks for itself. You are molded, and your shape is going to change, and that is obviously going to be painful.
It is going to be painful. That's why I'm always saying, like you're saying, popcorn generation, microwave. No, it's never going to be that easy. All the great people we talk about, even like, people talk about, Strive Masiwa, all this, Steve Jobs, all these famous people, Michael Jordan, that we like to talk about. It took them a lot to actually practice. Like someone was sharing the shots that Michael Jordan has taken in his career. They are more than the shots that he got in, that we celebrate about.
Right.
So there were failures along the way.
Yeah.
But we always concentrate on the wins, but there are also failures.
On the way. Now tell us, where do we find this book and how much is it?
This book is $20. We can find it at 25 Robson Manyika, Harare. And then Coach Tari is found on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Threads, X, and Instagram.
And that's Coach Tari with an IE at the end.
Yes, Tariro Mukunga. He's all things coaching. This is his 4th book. He's led so many Christian life coaching programs, and he's very passionate about what he does.
Right. Thank you so much for bringing this book to our light, and it was it looks like an enjoyable read. Thanks for joining us on Morning Rush. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Konapo, ipapo pa ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.